Welcome. This is the second video in regards to numerical summaries, and in this video we're going to talk about another measure of center, which is the median. And here's our definition. It's the halfway point, but it needs a little bit more description, halfway point of the distribution after all the data is laid out in order. It is completely necessary to say that, or else the median doesn't make any sense. So it's the other interpretation that I think you should hold in your mind is that when you say the median of a distribution, it's like saying the average of a distribution. You're telling somebody a number. And the interpretation is that 50% of the data in the distribution is larger than the median, and the other 50% is therefore smaller. So let's find the median for a data set. So the numbers below are representing the square mileage of each county in Oregon. So each county is a jurisdiction, it's got some space, and you can measure it in square miles. So look at this list of numbers, and the first thing to note is that it's in order. So small over here, large over here, and we're going, it wraps around, so it doesn't go in columns, it goes in rows, it goes here, and then across here, and so on. So if we want a number that's halfway between, that's at the midpoint of these, we can actually just kind of do that kind of geometrically. I mean, the numbers above the orange line are all smaller than the numbers below the orange line. So the numbers that are closest are 1781 and 1868. And so just like how an average doesn't actually have to be a number in your data set, like you can talk about the average number of hours slept without that number actually being how much time you slept on any given hour. The median doesn't have to be in the data set. And in this case, the way to choose a number that is halfway, that will do what we wanted to do, which is be a dividing point, so half the numbers are below and half the numbers are above, is to take an average of these two numbers. So let's average 1781 and 1868. And so how do you do that? You just add them both up and then divide by 2. So 3649 divided by 2, 1824 and a half. That's 1824 and a half. This is what our median is. Let's get a bigger highlight here. The median. And just note to yourself, that's a completely different process than adding all those numbers up and dividing by how many numbers there are. We calculated an average here at the end, but our process was seeking out a number where half the numbers are smaller than it and half the numbers are larger than that. And you should verify that. All the numbers in this list, exactly half of them are less than 1824, and exactly half of them are larger than 1824. Let's deal with a smaller data set. So this example says the median number of hours slept is 8 during the week outlined below. So you have this week, and note, you can't pick the middle number. The median is not 6. Median is not 6, just because it's in the middle. Just because that list is not in order. Let's write the list in order. 6, 7, 8. We have 2 8s, so we need to write it twice. We did leave out 7.5 though, didn't we? 8, 8, 8.5, 9. And then in here, there's no real average to be done. This number is right in the middle. And how do you know it's right in the middle? Because, we can walk in from the outside. And what's left is the number that's in the middle. So that's an 8. So depending on how many numbers you have in your list, the median is going to be calculated a little bit differently. But that's why this kind of interpretation of the median is by far the most important thing. You're trying to find a number where half the numbers are above and half the numbers are less. And here, you only have 7 numbers, so 3 are below and 3 are larger. And 3 is not really half of 7, but it's the best bet. It's the closest thing to the spirit of what you're trying to find when you're looking for a median. So let's look at this next example. So it says that let's add another day in. So on the next Sunday night, you stay up late studying and you get just 2 hours of sleep. So it's like adding a 2 to this list. How does this affect the mean and the median hours of slept over the 8 days? So just as a recall, if you were to average just the 7 numbers, so that's the original week, you get 7.7. The median is 8. Also note that those numbers are different. The mean and the median don't have to be the same. But now, let's adjust our list so it contains an 8th number. And let's calculate the average and let's calculate the median for that new list. So the new list is going to look a lot like the old list, except it has a 2 in it. So the median is actually going to have the situation where we need to calculate an average. So that's the dividing point between this ordered list. So the median will be the average of, median will be average of 7.5 and 8, which is 7.75 or 7.8. And the mean, we are going to have to do some summing. So let's bring our calculator back out. And we'll do 8. I'll read off the original because it's what I can see. 8 plus 8 plus 8.5 plus 6 plus 9 plus 7.5 plus 7 plus 2 equals 56, okay? And 56 divided by, there's 8 days now, is 7. Average is 7. So notice that the median didn't change much. But average did. The average went down by quite a bit. And that is typical. The average has a sensitivity to numbers that are far from the center, while the median does not. Like the most that was going to happen when we added a single number to the list was the median was going to move to the left or the right one. That's like the most that could happen. But where the average can be really strongly influenced by a number that is relatively small. Likewise, if you had slept for 16 hours one day, the average would have been pulled up very high, but the median just wouldn't have felt that effect. So these are different personalities that these numerical summaries have. And so you should be wary if you're in a conversation with somebody and they are using the word median and average interchangeably, because they don't mean the same thing. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.